Imagine a man with incredible power. His empire extended beyond the streets. It also reached the skies. They called him the King of the Sky. His name was Amado Carrillo Fuentes. He was no ordinary drug lord. While others chased the spotlight, Amado worked quietly, building a fleet of commercial airliners to transport cocaine across continents. He lived a life of luxury, lavishly lavish like a true billionaire. He created an empire that truly ruled the skies. But in the end, it was the skies that took it all back. Welcome to Carrillo Airlines. Amado Carrillo Fuentes was born in Sinaloa, Mexico in 1954, a land that gave birth to many legendary drug lords. He came from a family of small ranchers, but his ambitions far outweighed the modest life he was given. At the age of 12, Amado left his village with a vow: "I won't return until I'm rich." And that promise he kept. His first steps into the drug world began with his uncle, Ernesto Don Neto Fonseca, one of the founders of the Guadalajara Cartel, along with Miguel Ángel Felix Gallardo, the mastermind behind the vast network known as El Padrino. Amado started from the bottom. He worked as a pilot, flying planes carrying cargo, and also driving Don Neto and Felix to various locations. From the cockpit, he learned how the drug business worked, who held power, who could be trusted, and how much life cost in that world. When the Guadalajara Cartel collapsed in the mid-1980s and its leaders were arrested, Amado began to chart his own path. By the end of the decade, he had established direct relationships with Colombia's major players, the Medellín Cartel and its rival, the Cali Cartel. A few years later, Amado joined the Juárez Cartel, then led by Rafael Aguilar Guajardo. Amado quickly rose to become his confidant, the boss's right-hand man. But in 1993, everything changed. Amado murdered Aguilar and assumed full power. By controlling strategic smuggling routes along the United States border, Amado transformed the Juárez Cartel into a major force in the global cocaine trade. Unlike other drug lords, Amado shunned the spotlight. His photo was almost never seen in the media. He behaved like a businessman, wrote the Washington Post at the time. But behind his calm demeanor and faint smile, Amado was building something the world had never seen before: a drug empire that truly dominated the skies.
All that cocaine money made Amado Carrillo Fuentes one of the richest criminals in history. At his peak, Amado's net worth was estimated at $25 billion, just behind Pablo Escobar's $30 billion. For context, in the 1990s, that figure was enough to place him among the 10 richest people in the world. His empire generated enormous cash flow, and Amado used that money to bribe government officials with millions of dollars to protect his operations. However, many believe his true wealth was far greater than the official figures. Just imagine, With 30 Boeing 727s, each capable of carrying 10 tons of cocaine, worth around $200 million per flight, his potential earnings could have reached $6 billion a week if all the planes were fully operational. Of course, not all the planes flew every week, but even in a conservative scenario, say just 5 planes in operation, Amado could still have generated $1 billion a week, or more than $50 billion a year. With 10 planes flying, that figure could soar to $100 billion annually, and at the peak of his operations, his cartel could move more than $300 billion worth of cocaine annually. Even after deducting logistical costs, bribes, and losses, Amado's empire still generated tens of billions of dollars annually. So the estimated $25 billion fortune is likely only a fraction of what he actually controlled. But how did Amado spend all that money? Unlike flamboyant figures like Pablo Escobar or El Chapo, Amado was relatively quiet and elegant. He didn't keep exotic animals in his yard, but his lifestyle was certainly one of luxury. After his death, Mexican authorities seized more than 60 of his properties, from ranches and houses to luxury villas. 2 of his most famous properties demonstrate the extravagant life of the King of the Sky. The Palace of the 1,001 Nights in Hermosillo, Sonora, a lavishly decorated Middle Eastern-style mansion worth an estimated $5 million. Today, the building sits abandoned and graffiti-covered, a silent monument to its former wealth. The Jardines del Pedregal mansion in Mexico City, located in an upscale neighborhood, spans over 10,000 square feet and is valued at approximately $4.5 million. The house features an indoor swimming pool, expansive gardens, a 30-car garage, a private bar, a wine cellar, 9 bedrooms, 6 jacuzzis, a library, and even a life-size children's playhouse in the yard. Confiscated in 1995, the house has long been abandoned and was used as a film set. In 2022, the Mexican government even raffled off the house in a national lottery. At one of El Chapo's raids, authorities found a gold and diamond-plated Colt .38 pistol with the initials ACF engraved on it, a gift from Amado to Guzman, a symbol of loyalty and status. After Amado's death, the government froze approximately $10 billion in accounts linked to him, a substantial amount, but still less than half of his estimated total wealth. Reports indicate that only $10 to $12 billion of his wealth has been recovered. The rest was lost, hidden, or laundered through a complex financial network. Interestingly, Amado was also known for his generosity in his hometown. Like many cartel bosses, he funded churches and community projects to build a charitable image and garner local support. At his funeral in 1997, villagers treated him like a hero. Of course, his Robin Hood image was merely a mask for a life of crime. However, it proved one thing. Amado's wealth and power not only dominated the drug market, but also controlled the perception and respect of those around him.
By the late 1990s, Amado Carrillo Fuentes' empire was at the height of its power, but also the height of pressure from law enforcement. Both the United States and Mexico were hunting the King of Heaven. Cornered and desperate to disappear, Amado made a desperate decision: to alter his face through plastic surgery. However, the stakes were tragic. In July 1997, at the age of 42, Amado died on the operating table during a botched liposuction and facial reconstruction procedure. The sudden death of one of the world's richest drug lords shocked Mexico and sparked a wave of conspiracy theories. Many refused to believe it, insisting that Amado faked his death and escaped using his global network. To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. What is certain is that Amado Carrillo's name lives on,
remembered as the most powerful and wealthy trafficker in the history of the drug trade. His life story has become legendary, inspiring books, films, and TV series such as El Señor de los Cielos and Narcos Mexico. From a boy flying a small plane in Sinaloa to commanding a fleet of commercial planes loaded with cocaine, Amado proved how far ambition and courage can take a man in the underworld. But in the end, the man who built a billion-dollar empire in the sky died alone on the operating table. For a man who ruled the skies, falling was the only way his story could end.